my stitchy friends. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me. My name is Laura and you found Laladi Stitches. I have oodles to share with you today. I'm in the last 24 hours before I make a quick trip across the state and pick up my mom and my sister, and then I have company for a week. So that will be really fun, but I feel like I've got a lot going on, so please excuse any scattered brained moments. They're bound to happen. But I have so much to show. I did not want to postpone my video by any means. In fact, I've been very intentional about doing this today. So let's do it. Let's get into it. First things first, I had some questions in my last video about my cute little owl sitting in the moon. I had to do a little bit of looking into it because I knew the designer, but I didn't know what it was called. It is, oh, I've got a picture of it. It's a buttermilk basin pattern, and I did it a billion years ago as a, there it is, as a sample. And so I pull it out every fall because it is so cute. I love it. It has that kind of vintage look. Anyway, it's called Harvest Moon Door Greeter. I can't read backwards today. It's buttermilk basin. It is still available. It took me a little bit of looking though, because I finished it as a little wall quilt. They did it on toweling, and then it looks like they stuff it. So that's not really my style. Wall quilts are. So that's how I finished mine. Anyway, so for those who wanted to know, that's the information. Buttermilk basin, Harvest Moon Door Greeter pattern, and it is currently available, which is great because a couple of the things I've looked at today for today's video are no longer available, which is always a bummer because that's part of the fun of these videos, is kind of getting the inspiration and then indulging in a new project, but that's okay. It is what it is. You can't control availability. Okay. Yeah, that's the only news I have. It's sweet and to the point today. I have big news though. Drum roll, in a totally different subject. I did a bunch of finishing this week, or over the last couple of weeks, which is exciting. I have six framed or fully finished things. So let's jump into this because that's really fun. I'll show you my crappiest one first. And it's only crappy because I don't know what I'm doing. I just feel like it needs a little bit more. It's fine. It's very unpolished. And anyways, it's a flat finish. And I used the back of a frame that you'll see later, that it didn't fit into the frame anymore once I had all of the material in there. And anyways, totally rough, but I can put it out now. When the Owl Sings, I think it's called Owl Sings. It's a heart and hand design I finished a couple of years ago, but I don't have the pattern anymore. I did it as part of a giveaway last year. So, but it's super cute. It stitches up wicked fast. And when you buy the physical pattern, it comes with the little beads, which obviously it's like 7 beads. It's not a ton of beading, but I think I changed the purple out. I've mentioned it in my last couple of videos as Halloween approaches. I like a little bit of purple in my Halloween. So I swapped that out, but I think everything else is as called for, probably. I don't have any notes from it. Anyways, that's my first finish. Super rough, but super put on the shelfable. Yeah. That's a word. Okay, next one is Hocus Pocus, which I do still have the pattern for this. I'll bring it back up. It's a hands-on design, part of a trio. I've only done the first one so far. I stitched it on 36 count weeks linen, and this one's like big. Last time we met, it was still a whip, so I finished it, and then I fully finished it within 2 weeks of finishing the stitching, all the finishing. That never happens in my life, and I am super happy with it. The white frame just seemed to work. I don't know, because the fabric is dark and you're getting a reflection of my cup. That's better than the computer though. Anyways, yeah, I love it. It was super fun. I think when I picked up stitching, I might have it before. Not that it's like a big deal, but apparently I don't remember what I did. Yeah, so I added the purple to the words, the pumpkins, the pumpkin, and that's all I had to do. Like, it was a really quick finish. And I'm sure for the speed stitchers out there, this would be a really fast project, because I am snail stitcher over here and seasonal. It's like a combination of the two. I started it last year, finished it this year. So yay! It already has a place of honor out in my seasonal decorations, and it was fun. My husband came home, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and it had been out for a couple of days, but bless him, he's not the most observant, and he noticed it, and he was like, "Oh, that's a cool one." Thanks, honey. It is cool. It's cute. It's fun. And it's fun to see some of my work out in the house. So, but even more than that, is that next on the list? Nope. Okay. So because I finished Hocus Pocus, I wound up digging in my, well, there were a lot of reasons. I wound up organizing and kind of going through my stash this week and just kind of evaluating like where I stand with my whips, and kind of I've started thinking about next year is basically what this is. And I came, because it's a seasonal thing, I wouldn't normally work on this, but I came across my Octopus's Garden, by Blackbird Designs. This was, up until recently, a discontinued pattern, and I just saw, I think in the last week, that it will be being reprinted. So I'm not sure when exactly it will be available, but it will be purchasable again. So that's good news. I've had the sad task of telling people that it wasn't available for most of the time I've been stitching on this, but glad to see that change. It's adorable. It's super fun to stitch. And I had started it in August, well, restarted it with my friend Jill, and we were kind of just doing a between the two of us stitch along. And anyways, but then September came and I wanted to stitch fall, and so I put it away, even though I made super good progress. So when I was digging through my whips and stuff a couple weeks ago, I decided, I just got this wild hair. I was like, I'm so close. I could totally finish this and have another finish this year. So I did. I finished it. And I love it. So I changed the accent green on the leaves, which also features in the two fish, to a brighter green. The called for, at least in the picture, you can see that there's a good contrast between the two greens on the leaves. But the current dye lot of the called for floss is super, super close. So I swapped it out. I think it's Pea Pod or something like that by Classic Color Works. Do I have my tag? No. Thought I wrote it down somewhere. Anyways, And then I went to, I think it was Michael's, and bought an off-the-shelf frame. They were having a buy one, get one free, I think, sale, which was awesome. And why I was able to finish so many things. But yeah, it's all done. Now it can be my companion piece for my submarine, which is already up there, which is exciting. And I didn't do it intentionally, but when I got it all framed, I kind of turned around and held them up next to each other, which was fun. And both of my frames, while they are different, they have this kind of weathered look to them. So again, kind of a nod to companion piece without being matchy-matchy. Oh, I should also mention that I'm finishing these the big girl way. In the past, I have used various methods, everything from sticky board to masking tape. When I was young, my butterflies up on the wall. I don't know if they'll show. Here, I can kind of pan up. Butterflies up on the wall. I never know what gets cut off on the camera, you know, because I can see it, but in the editing phase, it seems to eliminate certain range above me. Anyways, my butterflies, which are in old dimensions, I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly confident they're just masking taped onto cardboard or something like that, if it's even cardboard. I mean, I was in junior high probably when I finished that and wanted it on my wall. And it's had several frames over the years. But so yeah, lots of really unprofessional but effective methods of framing. And this time around, I laced everything. I looked up the videos and I bought the matting board or foam board, depending on my frame, because some frames don't, at least off-the-shelf frames, don't allow the space for... Sorry, I'm going to take my sweater off. We're having a second summer for like 48 hours, and it's already warming up. Okay, anyways, some frames don't allow the space for when you add fabric and board. You know, a photo is one thickness of, you know, whatever, photo paper. And projects take up more space. So I bought two different kinds of board just in case the frame didn't allow for the space. And that's why on Hocus Pocus, that's what, really pretty, you know, it's what I had. This is the paper of a shopping bag. And it's glued down to cover the back of my lacing on that. And that's actually the kickstand that I used for the owl sings. So, you know, reuse, recycle, right? Anyways, that is one where I couldn't get the kickstand backing to go into it once I got the piece in. So I just improvised. But some of them it worked. And yeah, I'll stop rambling. I've got 3 more finishes. This one is a Barbara Anna, and it is called Witch's House. Oh my goodness. I didn't even remember. Okay, so I actually looked up some of my things so I would have this information, but I didn't look at this when I was looking information up. And see, brain. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I looked this up as a frosted pumpkin. As soon as I pulled this up, I didn't even hesitate. Obviously, it's a Barbara Anna. It has her style, her very specific plant life structures, and it's Barbara Anna. And I will, now that I look at it and I realize that, I will put the information, because I'm sure it's still available. I stitched this probably three or 4 years ago, something like that. Anyways, I'll get the information for it, but it was fun to take something that's been sitting in my box of finishes and put it in a frame. So, and it's this pretty, like, it has a gold, I don't know, it felt kind of spooky. Okay. You may remember this if you've been with me for the last year or gone back and watched my other videos. This is Scaredy Cat. I finished it last year. It is, I don't remember the maker. I don't remember who designed it. Anyways, it's very long and skinny, and I was originally thinking I would do a flat finish on it, but then I found this frame, and yeah, there's a lot of floaty space, but I kind of love it. It gives it a very, I don't know, it just has a vibe, and I love the frame with it. And it sits on my mantle with my twinkle lights and my pumpkins, and it's excellent. This is the one my husband really loves. When he saw that, he was like, oh, that's a cool one. Like, with way more enthusiasm than the Hocus Pocus. Apparently, also, that's the phrase he uses a lot, because that's exactly what he said. That's a cool one. Anyways, I agree. Yes, it is a cool one. Scaredy Cat. The pattern comes with a charm, and I think they hang, 2 charms. They hang under the cats. I omitted those. I just liked the pumpkins as they were. So, charmless. But also charming. All right, and last but not least, this is my biggest finish, simply because it is my oldest finish to fully finish. This is one that I did back in the last century. It is a kit from Dimensions Sunset. Oh, I'm so happy with it. Let's see if I can get it without the glare. It's so sweet. I love this. It turned out so good. And I centered it as well as I could, but you know, I'm a baby framer, so it's good. It's relatively straight. I tried to follow the grain line of the Ada, because this one is stitched on Ada. But I did this back when I was, oh, fiddle. I even rollied it. Oh, well. Okay, anyways, I've got a little, I might have to go in and try to get that out. A little fuzzy. But I did this back when I was a girl. The kit is from 1998. It's a Dimensions Sunset kit number 13653. It's called Old Teddies. And I have a companion piece for it that I think I'll do as a new start next year. It's totally mangled, but you know, it's over 20 years old, and when you're a kid, you're just not as careful with things. So that's what it is. Kid, I was a teenager, but anyway, so that's a companion piece. I love this one. I love them both. This one has very warm, cozy vibes though, and actually I found it rather emotional to finish it. It was very satisfying, and it's so lovely, and I don't know where I'll put it, but it's gonna get a good spot. Anyways, I'm really, really glad to have that one framed, and more so than I thought I would be. One reason it's not been a priority is because I don't have kids. I'm not super into, I mean, I was when I was a kid. I loved my teddy bears, my stuffed animals, but like, I don't collect antique stuffed animals. And that's what those feel like. These feel like the ones that would have the like rotating limbs almost, and just the antiques, and they're so sweet. I mean, it's really sweet. So almost reminds me of Pooh Bear. But yeah, anyways, I guess I let it go into this category of my brain where it was like, oh, I can't finish that because ... right? Which is ridiculous when you think about it logically. But I finally like let that go, and it's lovely. It's lovely. I really like it. So anyways, blah, stop rambling. Yeah. So those are my finishes. 6 of them framed on the walls, in the places. It's excellent. Oh, you guys, I'm gonna put my sweater back on because that's the kind of day it is. It's cool this morning, but warm when the sun comes out, and now the sun went away and I'm cool again. So, you know, that's fine. All right. So let's look at what I feel so scattered. I hope this is coming across less scattered than it feels, because it feels really random, but that's okay. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, so my whips, what I stitched on. I definitely stitched on Hocus Pocus and Octopus's Garden. I've already seen those. Those were fully finished. So those got really the tail end of September in my book of days. I started about halfway through the month writing what I was actually working on, because I was finding that I had I'd pre-slotted basically projects that I wanted to work on from my list. And I got to the last week or so, and I just didn't want to work on what was pre-slotted. So that was where I got into this in-between. I wasn't quite ready to jump into Halloween stitching because it wasn't October yet, but I wasn't really wanting to stitch on what I had planned on. So I just wrote down what I worked on instead of pre-planning. And Octopus's Garden, it looks like I gave it at least a portion of 4 days, and Hocus Pocus got a couple. And then I started something new because it came in the mail and I was very excited about it. And it's darling. I love it. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have already seen this. It is called, oh, this is going to be a terrible glary picture. Let's see if I can get a different angle. See, when this lamp has to be on, it just totally changes how the light hits. That's such a bad angle. Anyways, you get the idea. It's Fall on the Farm by Little House Needleworks. I think they ran it as a SAL last year. It's not old. It's a relatively recent pattern. Yeah, copyright 2022. So it's last year. This is the first square, which is where I started. I am going to stitch all 9 on one piece of fabric. And I thought, center start, that's perfect. I had only purchased the first couple charts, and this went so quickly that I think I have at least one more square en route to me right now, so that just in case I got the urge and I stitch this. I love this block. This is the next one. I think it sits right above the middle square, and these little chickens are just a hoot. They're so cute. I love them, but I love you get the little sunflower moment, some pumpkins. It's just so sweet. The robin, or it might be a raven or a crow or something sitting on the chimney. I think it's darling. Absolutely precious. I'm stitching it as called for. I mean, like, I really didn't change anything. It's a 30 count portobello linen. And when it came, you can kind of see it's rather translucent. It's a looser weave. And I wasn't sure, but I loved how the pictures looked. So I just went for it, and it was the right choice. It's lovely. It's easy to stitch on, and because it is a 30 count, like, the stitches are big and satisfying. They're just juicy. But oh my goodness, the floss, the variegation in there is so pretty. It's so satisfying to stitch it. I love it. I love it. So I really didn't, once I started this, I didn't work on anything else until it was done. And I almost started the next block because I had everything, but then we were really close to Halloween at that point. So to October, I should say. So I didn't want to get into it and then cross over into October and feel like, and these are my own brain constrictions or restrictions, but feel like I needed to, for any reason, have to put it away because, oh, we're changing seasons. Anyways, I thought it was just easier to not start it. that's just me. I know you guys like to see my bags. I don't typically show them because I try to press my projects and it's easier to just stack them. And I always feel bad because I haven't purchased any. There are beautiful project bags out there and everybody's like, oh, I got this from this person or this person and this shop on Etsy, and that's awesome, but I make my own. So I don't buy them. Anyways, so I always feel bad showing you, but this is what she's living in. I just finished this one. I think it's really sweet. It has the little chickens, which match the little chickens. Anyways, so that's that one. Where did I put these? I've got more stuff down there to pull up later, so I can't really place them there right now, but I'm loving that project. I'm so glad I started it. It's one I looked at last year as they were releasing them, and it just wasn't, I guess it just wasn't the right time. But it was this year. Hit the spot. Okay, my next one is, let me find the main picture. Because this is oh wait. No, I don't have it. Okay. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This one is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Halloween Spooky Sampler. And I guess you could say I stitched this, I think, if I look at my calendar, I stitched this on the last day of September. So it was my little sampler moment for September Sampler September. I didn't really participate in that this year, but maybe next year. You never know. Yeah, it's super cute, super fun. It's charted in DMCs with maybe, I'm trying to remember. I think it's charted in DMCs. And I had swapped out a few colors for overdyed. So I've kind of been doing my own thing. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Belfast linen. It's a printed linen, which I'll show you in just a minute. This is where I started. So I had 3.5 squares to go. And I still have more to do, but I made some progress. Here we go. Ooh, I love it. So the border is supposed to be black, solid, and I have chosen a week's, let me see if I can dig it out here because I didn't write it down. Yes, I'm stitching the border in Weeks Dye Works Merlin. So if I get closer, you can kind of see it's a like indigo, blacky, purpley in person. The purple's not really showing up in the camera, but and then I swapped out the center lines, which I think are also supposed to be black originally. And those are, what are those? Oh, excuse me. The outside border is peacoat. See, I'm so unorganized here. Best intentions. Oh, my Lanta. I need a clippy. I don't have one. That's okay. We'll make do. So peacoat for that awesome skeleton border. Merlin, which there you can see the kind of purpley difference, is this center. And then I have swapped out the hair in the house are Bordeaux. And they're also those little owls. So, and I've got a couple other swaps, but that just kind of gives you an idea of what I did. Kept with a deep theme. I mean, even in the camera, it looks like it's all black, but it is in fact more colorful, subtly colorful in the pictures. But I've kind of been stitching, it was kind of a weird way to stitch. It's not how I've been stitching this project. I had started out just doing like a square at a time. And for some reason, when I picked it up this time, maybe because I already had some of the black done in this one, I didn't feel like stitching black. I didn't feel like focusing on one thing. So I picked up some green and I did some green, and then I kind of brought into it was more color completion. I guess that's the way to put it. And then I did some orange and color completed orange in the other squares, and then the white, I did the same thing, and then just a little bit of the yellow. So it's kind of a different way to approach it than I have, but kind of satisfying to be like, oh yeah, like there's stuff growing in almost every square now. So I think these are eyeballs as one of the E's, Halloween. Anyways, it's fun. It's a cute project. I'm enjoying it. And, you know, maybe we'll see how far I get on it this season. Maybe next year it will be one of my FFOs. Maybe I'll get bored with it and it won't be. That's entirely possible too. Okay, next one. I only did a little bit of stitching on this, and that is partly because I ran out of floss colors. So this is the Blue Flower Halloween Parade. I love it. I'll show you the back. I think it's a better flat image of the design. Get my computer to focus. But it's so cute. All these little animals in their costumes, and it's really fun. Blue Flower always hits it out of the park for me. So this is where I started. Last year I got the tree done. I had like part of the tree done is all last year. And I completed the tree and added in all the animals and the beginning of our witchy lady. Like I said, I didn't do a ton of stitching on this, but I did do a little bit, so I'll show you. I'm stitching this on a 35 count weeks linen. The color is mocha, and it's just, I mean, it's showing up really well in the camera. It's rich and warm, and the colors just pop. I'm doing it as called for, so these are all the DMCs, and it's beautiful. So I just did a little bit of the word straw and the front of her dress. Like I said, not much, but it's cute. This is fun. I'll probably do a little bit more stitching on this. I found as I was stitching it that I was enjoying it, but I didn't have the excitement that I had for some of my other projects that I've pulled out. So we'll see how much attention it gets. Are you restless, sweet pea? I know. I'm washing her blanket that she normally, I have a big fuzzy blanket that we bunch up and she sleeps on when I'm in here, and it's not in here. So I think she feels a little lost. Poor baby girl. You're a good dog. Yes, you are. Okay. Next, I worked on, oh, I should show you the main picture because this one comes in two charts, two patterns, and it only shows half of the design on either one. So I have borrowed the Ink Circles website picture of it, if I don't touch any extra buttons. There we go. This is what it ultimately looks like. It is called ltimore. It says Happy Halloween and then your year date in the tombstones. And I saw this one, they have I don't know if, I haven't been there in over a year, so, but I would imagine they still have it. It's not that old a chart. Acorns and Threads had a sample of this on the wall. And I saw it and I was like, oh, I want that. I want that. And so I kitted it up that day, and then I got the most measly, pathetic start. I think I did one bat. And then just got distracted by other things, as I do. Here we go. And then last year I pulled it out and I was doing a lot of stitching in black. And I think I just kind of burnt out on stitching in black. In fact, I did that multiple seasons. In winter, most of my projects had oodles of white in them. And so I burnt out on anything with big chunks of white too. But this was my season where I got burnt out on black. So I did some of the fence post last year. And that's where it was when I picked it up. And I've gotten more done this year. This is where I am. Ooh, I love it. I love the little bats in the corners. So I've added this whole length of fence. I had to rip it out at one point because these little in-betweens are not equidistant. They, surprise! Some of them are 6, some of them are 5, some of them are 7. And Laura, you got to pay attention to what you're stitching. You can't just go along. I was paying more attention to where the posts sit because you can see they also are varying heights and they sit different, which gives it this really cool kind of spooky wave to it. But it made for a sad moment when I had to rip out. I think I was this far down when I realized that this post, one of these posts, didn't line up appropriately because I'd done some of this, and I double checked this to make sure I hadn't counted it wrong, and it was correct. So it was definitely in my posts, and I found I'd shorted one of my lengths there a stitch, and so I had to pull it back to this one and stitch it again correctly. But you know, that's okay. That's okay. It's part of the game. At least I didn't have to pull out the bat. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. This gets a little pumpkin sitting in the middle, and then I'll be ready to go on to, I'll be 1/4 completely finished. So yeah, very exciting. I'm stitching this on a Fox and Rabbit linen. It's a 36 count, and the color is Baked Clay. The only color change I've made in my floss choices hasn't shown up yet, and it was because I bought this in, see, 2020, 2021, something like that, when things were just opening up again, but we had a lot of shortages still. And so we didn't have, Acorns and Threads at the time didn't have the called for gold. So I am swapping it out for Harvest Moon. And I do have a little, I think that'll be really pretty. It's a little brighter. Here is the called for gold leaf. It's a little brassier. So, you know, at this point, I could go out and find gold leaf, no problem. I haven't done any of it yet, but I like the one I had chosen with all of the other colors. I think it's pretty. So I might just keep it the same. Plus, I have it, so I wouldn't have to go out and get it. And that goes a long ways, right? Anyways, we'll see what actually happens, but that's kind of the dealio schmealio with that project. Oh, and this is its bag. I guess I didn't show you. Oh, it was an Amazon bag, that's why. This is his, I guess this is a him. This is this project's bag. Oh, minus the chart. We'll just show you the back. It's fine. Oops. Oh, we're good. Kind of hit a button there. I know, honey. Just doing little settling sounds. Okay. And my last one I worked on, which I feel like I've done a decent amount of stitching. Some nights I haven't stitched at all. You know, it's just tired brain. But this one I made good progress on. This is Mirabilia Halloween Fairy. And tuck that in there. It says limited edition kit number 3. I didn't buy it as a kit. I guess you could say I bought the, well, here, I'll show you. It lives in this bag, which I'm actually quite enjoying the, look at the inside, it's ghosts. I'm enjoying the squishy batching bag. Anyways, side note. So I ordered it off of 123 Stitch. It was one, I wanted a fancy lady, but not a giant project for October. And I love her classic kind of vintage feel. So I ordered her, and on 123 Stitch, they have the button that you can click on that's like, here, get all the flosses and beads. And I was like, okay, that'll be great, because I'm not planning on going down to Threadneedle Street anytime soon, so this will be a good way to get it. I didn't have any of the colors, so it came with the colors and the beads. First of all, where do all these beads go? It only calls for one bead. So I don't know. I feel like I got a little scammed. But so there's that. So pay attention to the content they put in there, I guess. But then the other thing is, since the model was stitched up, the die lot for Bunny Honey, that's this one, has changed, like dramatically. So this is supposed to be the lighter accents in her dress, which really are it's a very variegated, kind of light chocolatey, I don't know, there's color to it, right? And this is very gray. And that's not a bad thing, but it makes for a much more dramatic skirt. So let me show you what I've done. I'm stitching this on one of my tea-dyed even weaves from last year or earlier this year. Must have been earlier this year. So that's what I have. You can see that Bunny Honey really reads white, basically, in with everything else. Also, super great start. This is a lot of stitching for me. I've been doing it the last 3 nights though. So I started with the white, and I didn't really think anything of it until I pulled the next color out, which is this really beautiful ashy color. And I realized that there was a lot of contrast. So I kind of stopped, and then I had my stitchy day with my friend Jill where we dyed fabric, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I'm kind of on a pause because it's going to be real high contrast, and that's not what's shown in the picture. It's very warm and blendy, right? So we kind of looked at the colors and decided it will still be beautiful to keep going. And at this point, I would be nervous to pull out the white because I've stitched around it enough. You know, when you're stitching, sometimes you pierce a fiber of previous stitches and stuff, and so it can be really messy to pull out stitches that you've already stitched full coverage around. So I decided last night while I was continuing to stitch, and I added in the black last night, and I was like, this is her Cruella de Vil dress. That's why it's high contrast. She's a Cruella de Vil butterfly fairy. And it's going to be great, especially once you get the 3 colors that go into the ruffle below her skirt are those 3. And so I think once you get everything, you know, in the bottom, it will come together and be really whimsical and fun, and it'll be great. But because this is so light, the flesh color they called for is Bella Rosa, and it reads almost the same as this. It's very, very, very pale, but with like these pink variegations through it. And I didn't care for that, both because she's not a ghost fairy, but also because I just wasn't confident that it wouldn't wind up looking splotchy or being too blendy with this, because this color is going to come up again in these empty spaces there. So I went digging in my stash and I found this, and it looks it is very close to my fabric, but it feels a lot more, you know, flesh toned to me. And there's not a ton. She's got her arms are here, but they're in the wings, and then her face is backstitched. If you can see, there's a line of backstitch. So really, it's still going to show. Even her legs get a little line of backstitching. So it's going to show up just fine, and I much prefer this color for flesh than the ghostly color that is called for. So that's the change I'm making. It's called Country Lane. It's a Cottage Colors. It's the only Cottage Colors, which I believe is the old name for Classic Colorworks. So there's that. Anyways, good progress. I'm excited to get into some of the colors. This is the beginning of one of her wings that will come up. And it felt very appropriate to be stitching on this last night since it's the beginning of the Queen City Stitchers Retreat. And I have friends there and I wish I was there with them. So I'm stitching Mirabilias with you in heart as you get to meet Nora Corbett in person. How exciting. What a thrill. But still, what are all these beads for? Only this package is called for. So, I don't know. I did not realize that till last night. Okay, that is everything I've stitched on. That's my whips. So, my plans are to keep going on my fairy, potentially a little bit more on ltimore, just depending on my mood. But then I have a couple new starts. I was going to start Little Brown Bat, but I found when I opened it up, I have not kitted the floss for it yet. So I don't know, this might wind up, I will either find the floss for it or I will wait to start that one. So I'm not sure on that. I do have my, careful, my beautiful vintage chart, the Victorian house number 9, which I would love to start this year. And then the infamous Halloween Quaker, which my mother has finished. Bless, she is amazing. She's so cool. She's so great. I'm hoping she brings it with her and I can show you guys hers because it's really cool. I mean, we've all seen it, right? But it's still exciting to see people finish it. Anyways, I have a piece of Ada that I dyed in here and I could start it if the mood strikes. So that's kind of my loose plans where I have company coming into town and then like, I feel like we've got a lot of traveling happening this month. So I'm not really, if you look at my book of days, because of how September went, I've just been writing down what I'm actually stitching on. So here's the projects that I could or would potentially like to work on. Whips and new starts. A couple of them, like my Halloween fairy, I've already got really good progress on. But I haven't filled anything else in because it's just going to be busy. And I know I'll get stitching done, but I don't know what. And both my sister and my mom like to cross stitch, so I'm sure we'll go down to Threadneedle Street, my LNS, and you never know what will come home from a cross stitch shop. So we're just going to leave it flexible. I've kind of got my list of projects and I'll work from that as the mood strikes. That's the plan for now. Okay, let's look at haul. I'm counting my dyed fabric as haul because even though it's all fabric that I've had in my stash that I'm just over dyeing, it's new now because it has color. And then I've got quite a bit. So I got my monthly from September on Bestitch Me, which I don't know if you've seen, but I'm going to show it to you because it's awesome. Boneyard. Mine is Lugana. And it is really cool. In fact, it's cool enough that I was like, should this be my background for Halloween Quaker? It could be really cool. But then I was like, no, save it for something else. I don't know why, but it's gorgeous. I think it's really, really great. It actually showed up pretty well on camera too. And then I got more fabric than I normally get. Oak Crown Studios, which is, if you're familiar with Fiber Arts Amy, she just started a new fabric dyeing company, and you guys, it is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. She has a couple videos where she talks about like her experience, and she's got a chemistry degree and in dyeing, natural dyeing and chemical dyeing and all sorts of things, and kind of her love for that and how that led into her doing this. And so it's really exciting. And as soon as she announced that she had opened her website with product on it, I was like, okay, I'll just go see what it's like. And they were so gorgeous that I didn't even wait 10 minutes before I ordered something. So I'll just lay it on the board so you can see everything. I got 2 pieces from her and they are so gorgeous. This is Lurking in the Woods. It's a 28 count linen. And it's really, really, really beautiful. So, oh, Butterfingers. Beautiful, beautiful. And then the second one I got is so pretty. It reminds me of the piece I'm stitching, The Visitor on. And just like the warmth and the kind of rosy, purpley, golden tones, absolutely gorgeous. This one's called Mushroom Stew. And this is a 32 count linen. Anyways, really, really beautiful. I am so thrilled for her and her new starts, and wish her all the success in the world because that stuff's gorgeous. She's gonna do well. Anyways, yay for that. Then I had seen this pattern at the cross stitch store last time I went, and I didn't get it because I had a stack of other things. I think I was buying a lot of floss that day, and that adds up really quickly. And then I've seen a couple Flosstubers since then starting this, and I was like, oh, nuts. I should have gotten it because I really love, love, love this project. It's just so gorgeous. It's rich and warm, and it has all my favorite colors in it, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So Feast of Friendship by Blackbird Designs, and I instantly, like, I knew I needed to get it because if I didn't, I'd regret it. And when I ordered that, I also ordered a piece of the also infamous Vintage Country Mocha, which I've never stitched on before. This will be my first Vintage Country Mocha stitch. It's beautiful. Yeah, it'll be good. And I think it has the right warmth for all of those rich colors. The color of the house alone, that is just... I hope my floss winds up that rich and variegated. We'll see what the current dye lot is. That is supposed to be... Oh, interesting. It will be, because it's actually like 4 different colors. That's how they got it, so that'll be cool. Anyways, so when I go to the shop with my family, I'll probably buy floss for this. That'll be like my intentional purchase. Last time, I've only got a couple more here, and you've seen some of them. So last time I talked about how I kind of want to start the back to school sale. It is October, so I have missed the actual back to school, but you know, it's just an excuse to start a project. So I showed you Come Into My Garden last time, and then I actually printed out my digital copy of the vanity sampler so you could see the 2 options next to each other. And then I have 2 potential fabric options: a 40 count Newcastle linen, brown sugar fiber on a whim, which is gorgeous. I've used a bigger count of this for other projects, and I love it, and I think it could work for either one. And being 40 count, you know, 1 strand of floss, smaller finish, makes a lot of sense on a bigger project. But I also have from my stash this gorgeous Ada mocha from Bestitch Me, which I purchased with another project in mind and then decided not to use it. And I think it too, I mean, obviously it would finish almost twice as big, but it could be a really pretty fabric for it. So I'm still noodling around that. Haven't decided which one I'll do. Maybe I'll do them both. Who knows? It could happen. And then my last little bit of haul, like that wasn't really haul. It was just more like processing that's still in the wings. None of those were new in the last 2 weeks, but this was because, what is it? I think Julie and Stitches says no pattern travels alone. So when I bought this, I also bought this. And I've watched people stitching these four seasonal pillows. I don't know that I would finish them as pillows. And I wouldn't do the tags. I'll find some kind of alphabet and stitch in spring, summer, winter, fall, or autumn, excuse me. But I love them. They're so pretty. They're so pretty. And I've really been enjoying, over the last year, I've finished a few projects that have like a feature element and then a couple motifs and a pretty border, and I'm really enjoying that. I mean, it's Brenda Gervais. You can't go wrong. But I'm enjoying that kind of aesthetic. They're interesting to stitch and satisfying. So those will probably come again next year. Like maybe I'll start it in winter, in January or something like that, and then progress in theory through the year. You might see this one next month because it's basically ready to go. And then everything else is just stash building. So on the note of stash building, my next haul that you see after my family visits will hopefully be my last haul for quite some time. That's part of I mentioned I've kind of been thinking forward towards next year and what I'd like to accomplish and kind of how I'd like to structure my stitching, and it's a little earlier than I normally start thinking about it, but I'm thinking about it. And yeah, I'd like to be working from my whips next year rather than, and I'll have starts, but like planned starts instead of impulsive starts. I think I'm working on my New Year's plans. Last year I kind of did my own version of a 12 by 12 for New Year's celebration, and potentially having those be my planned starts. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still thinking about it, but I'm definitely planning on fewer starts, more progress on my whips, and my starts that I do that I do start being more intentional. So anyways, brain. Okay, so let's show you my fabric really quick, and then I will announce our winners from the giveaway. My last two floss tubes away. Yeah, from the start of last month. So we'll announce those after I show you my fabric, and then I'll let you go because I also have things to go do. So this is just the fun part of the day. Okay, so lessons in dyeing. I've had a couple people request a video on dyeing. There are some really great videos on dyeing. I don't know that I do it very officially. As with all things, it's kind of like, okay, take these nuggets from various videos and combine them into my own like hybrid way to dye. I learned last time that if you want richer color, you've got to let it soak longer, especially since I'm dyeing on Aida. There's a lot more fiber to take in that dye. So I got some richer colors, and then I realized I was getting a lot of really saturated colors, and so I also kind of experimented with trying to get some lighter colors. So all of that being said, here they are. Oh, I'm going to put a board behind it so you can see the color for reals. And it's as rich in person Last time, I think I like this side better. Last time I did purple, it wound up drying much lighter. Like it looked rich like this while it was wet, and then when it dried, it was so much lighter. I'll just put them on my leg. And so this time I let them marinate, if you will, a little bit longer in the dye, and it worked. It did a lot. I still got some lighter spots, which show up more dramatically in the video than they look in person, but they're quite striking. They're pretty awesome. This is a really long skinny one. Maybe it could be like one of those Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Halloween Town backgrounds. If it's big enough, that could be really fun. That could be really fun. I might have to go look at those. Okay, so that was my purple world. We're kind of going through the color wheel a little bit. This was denim and teal and what was the brown? Oh, pearl gray. We had pearl gray while we were working, and it wound up being a lot darker. We must have just had, more dye in our cup, but it really wound up neat. I don't know what that'll be a background. Maybe a mermaid, or we'll see. Oh wow, that is way lighter in the video than it is in person. But this was predominantly teal, and I think I put a little bit of forest green on it. I used Rit dye. And it doesn't look that white in person, but still marbling, good marbling on it, without being super intense, I guess. And this one was too light. Okay, so this one started out like a mocha brown, Ada, and I've had it in my stash for years, and I've never used it. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try dyeing on brown. So I did forest green and gray, I think, and when it came out, it looked like camo. And I was like, I'm never gonna stitch on camo. Like, that's just not gonna happen. So I went back again and dyed over it with more forest green, and then I added some denim to it, and I love it. It does not read in person camo at all. It's just like a forest. Okay, so there's my first hanger, and I steal all my good ideas from Jill, so you can thank her for my hangers here. I'm just using little pants hangers. And I would love to store them like this, like she does, but I do not have closet space for that because my closet is full of fabric boxes. So, okay. This is my favorite hanger because cool things happened. So last time I dyed, I definitely dyed project specific. And this time it was just playing with color and kind of building on my experiences from the previous time and seeing if I could create more intentional results. So that was a fun game to play. And I got some good, like I said, this is my favorite hanger. So I got those are super intense and dark, and I felt like they're gorgeous, but a little bit more limited on what you could stitch on them. So I wanted to try to get some neutrals in my repertoire, and this is one of my favorites. It's so pretty. So taupe, pearl gray. We lightened down the pearl gray, though, watered it down a little bit so it wouldn't be quite as intense, and a little bit of sage. I think those were the three colors. And that's something I learned as I was going along, is that three colors wound up kind of being my sweet spot for not being so dynamic that they were gorgeous, but more limited in, like, I could stitch a sampler on that easily. This was the first gray I did, and it's interesting. In the camera, those white scratches, like where the fabric had folded, they look really obvious in the camera, but they're not that obvious in person. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just an interesting kind of observation. Similar color palette, but without the sage as the last one. Sage wound up being one of our favorite colors. And I wanted something more brown. I'm trying to remember. I had different colors of base. I had everything from cream to brown to white. I had a yellow that I dyed, which is, you'll see it last. It looks like it's the last one in the stack, but it was the first one I dyed. Anyways, but this is super cool. I mean, it could be something. It'll be something. It turned out cool. Okay. And the last three. This one I dyed very specifically, and there is the new Autumn Lane. It's 3 witches flying through the sky over a like cityscape, and I didn't have a background for that, and so I dyed this. And I think I haven't done a floss toss on it, but it's pretty much silhouettes, black stitching with silhouettes. So, I mean, it'll show even with this incredibly dramatic dynamics piece, but so fun. The crazy thing is we didn't have any orange. This is how colors are blending. So this is eggplant. I want to say it's sage, not teal. And this orange that comes out is just where the marigold blended with the eggplant and created this coppery rust. It's so fun. It's so fun. Oh, I love it, love it, love it. And it's, yeah, anyways, cameras, they wash things out. But, and there's this one, which is very reminiscent of one of the pieces I dyed last time, but it's bigger. And I don't know, it feels a little cleaner to me in some ways. What's interesting is I almost like the back better. Like, I love those rust spots. They're gorgeous. But if you needed something that was a little more blendy and subtle, like these are totally winding up two-sided. Like you get very different effects based on which side you poured the dye directly on. I don't know, it's just interesting. And then my last one, which was my first one, this was a yellow base. This one started out yellow. Isn't that crazy? And again, very different. It kind of has a greeny brown. It's not showing as green in the camera as it does in person. It's showing very brown, but really pretty. Anyways, it was super fun. It was a really fun afternoon, and I wish Jill was here to show hers as well, because it was interesting, you know, to do it with somebody else and to be throwing my own colors on and then see something that she'd do and be like, oh, I want to try something like that next time. And I've only got 3 more pieces left to dye, so like, how do we want to use this fabric? And oh my goodness, she got some really, really gorgeous pieces, but so did I. I mean, nothing we dyed that day was bad. So it was really fun. And sometimes if we didn't like it, we'd dye it again to kind of alter it or change it. And anyway, super fun. It was super fun. And I really, really enjoy it. I would like to, at some point, buy like a yard of even weave or linen and try dyeing that. Because up to now, I think I've only dyed Ada. And I know just from pictures I've seen that you can get very different effects on different fibers. So anyways, super fun. I think I started to say it earlier. I don't think I'll do a tutorial on it just because there are a lot of good ones out there, and yeah, I just don't know. I'm new to it. So some things I'm really comfortable with being like, okay, I could potentially show that to you guys sometime because I actually know what I'm doing. And this is one thing that I'm still learning how to do it. You know, I'm just a baby and I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I don't feel confident enough to teach it. So there you have it. I wanted you guys to get good information, not made up information. Okay, so let's do our winners. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Get my tablet to wake up here. So, it was both an anniversary and a, sorry, I've got to get to the right spot here. Anniversary and a, words are hard. There you go. 5,000 subscribers celebration. So I did 5 giveaways. And we'll just go through this real quick. And how we do, I gave it an extra 2 weeks because we had a bit of a scam bot come into the comments last time, and I just wanted to make sure that things were happening the right way. With my giveaways, I will, announce the giveaway and show you what's available. We'll give us a code word for each one, and then I do a random comment generator on it, which will come up, and I take pictures of the winner, and then you email me. So when you hear your name, I always link below my video in the description box my Instagram, my email, and my buy me a coffee, so that you have ways that you can reach out to me and you know that you're finding the right person, because I'm the only one with access to those. So so for giveaways, email me when your name is announced, and then I will respond to you there and only there. I will never put it in the comments. I will never send you links to give more information. I will never do any of that. So it's the only secure way, really, to know we're talking to the real people. So let me announce the winners. This is very exciting. So the first one is a Scarlet House pattern black dog sampler. It's very cute. Here's the little black dog with these beautiful floral motifs. The winner for this is Kristen Myers. Kristen Myers. So Kristen, send me an email and I'll get this out into the mail for you. The next winner is for Madame Chantilly's On the Beach, which I did 2 summers ago. Last summer? 2 summers ago? Oh, maybe it was last summer. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's super cute. It's super fun to stitch, and it stitches up actually really quickly. So the winner for On the Beach is Carol Omer. Yay! This is so much fun. I love sharing, giving back. It's a fun thing to do. So Carol, send me an email. And the next one is beautiful Anniversaries of the Heart, Blackbird Designs, Pumpkin Farm, very seasonally appropriate. And the winner for this one is, gotta get to the right name. There we go. So pumpkin winner is Shelly Barron. Baran? Congratulations, Shelly. You get the pumpkin. Okay, and the next we'll do is Plum Street Samplers, Flag Flock. And our word was flag. I know, it's very creative. They're so cute though. I actually have 2 patterns of this, and so I'm giving away the spare. I haven't stitched it yet, but I love it. I love the swirls and the sheep and the pineapple and everything about it's cute. Anyways, I don't have to sell it to you. I'm going to give it to you. The winner is Carolina Maslanka. You have a beautiful name, by the way. Every time I wrote this down so I could make my list, I was like, ooh, that's a good name. It just, when you say it right, it feels good to say it. Anyway, send me an email, Carolina. I'll stop talking about your name. Okay, and last but not least, the winner of the Winter Full Kit from Stitching Lane is Janet Jabber, who also has a Flosstube when I looked into it. Very, very fun. So congratulations, Janet. Send me an email and I'll get this out to you as well. So yay, congratulations everybody. Thank you for watching my channel. Even if you didn't win, thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing this experience with me and listening to my ramblings. And it's so much fun to be here and to do it. And I appreciate all of you and all of your comments and your kindness. And it's wonderful. I'm glad to be here and glad to be able to do things like this. And yay! Very fun. Okay, that is it. That's what I've got for you today. All my stitching, all my goodness, my finishes, the giveaways. It's like a extravaganza over here. It feels like a big episode, even though it's pretty typical length for me. It's not an extraordinarily long one, but that's okay too. It's a good one. Oh boy, my brain's spinning. I've got so much to do. I've got to go do laundry and grocery shopping and cleaning. I've got to tear down this room, which is why I'm doing this first, because this becomes my guest bedroom when I have company. Yes. So I've got some work to do, but I will be back again probably in a couple weeks with my next quilting bee, and then maybe 3 weeks for my next Flosstube. I've got 2 quilts that I just quilted, so you'll get to see the full finishes on those, and that's all I've done since my last video, but that's only a few days ago, so it's excuse me, it's still good progress. I just want to take a moment and appreciate my unicorn skeleton earrings because they're awesome. I got them at the Renaissance Fair when I was there in Utah with my sister, and I saw them and knew that I needed them for October earrings because they're excellent. And they match my skeleton shirt, and so we're getting all spooky over here, and the leaves are falling and the sun is shining and family is coming and life is good. So I hope you are well. I hope you are stitching, and I will see you all very soon. Take care, my friends.